Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm outside Mercedes-Benz Arena, which is the equivalent to O2 Arena in London. So that's where all the concerts and everything are held here in Shanghai. As you can see behind me, there are quite a lot of people walking about. Of course, not as many as before, but the situation in Shanghai isn't as bad as the Western media is claiming it to be. I am wearing a mask, and so are many other people, but at the end of the day, the situation in Wuhan is just so super bad for sure. I would like to thank all the viewers of my previous video who actually wrote to me and asking me to wear goggles because of this coronavirus and doubling up on the masks and getting a proper mask. Well, thank you so much. I really do appreciate it. And the fact that there are so many nice people out there just like yourself. I'm so appreciative of this fact. And to be honest, I have been trying to look for a better mask, but it's just so hard to find. Most of the pharmacies in Shanghai have run out of these kind of masks, so especially getting the N95 mask is quite complicated. But the best part is the sun is out. It is getting better here in Shanghai, so I'm quite happy. People are walking and about, so that's a better sign. It's a positive sign. Here's one gentleman behind me who's not wearing a mask whatsoever. It is windy, it is cold, but just sitting at home all the time, it gets tiring, it gets boring, so it's better to go for a walk. I do feel bad, and I genuinely do feel bad for the people in Wuhan who are homebound all the time. However, thank God the situation here in Shanghai isn't as bad, so let's just pray. And to be honest, that's all we need here in China. We just need prayers.
So yeah, I managed to grab a coffee in Costa Coffee, and it's pretty nice to leave the house after staying in the house for 2 days. To be honest, the situation isn't that bad here in Shanghai, as many Western media outlets would say to you guys, the news channels and whatever, uh, online reports, whatever. To be honest, it's not that bad in Shanghai. Yes, of course we have to take precautions. Yes, of course we have to be safe. Yes, of course we have to keep ourselves clean, the hygiene and everything. And I have my sanitizer with me. So before I had my coffee, I'm just regularly sanitizing my hands and also washing my hands regularly at home. So that's the most important part. After I go home, I'm going to throw all these clothes in the wash and then take a shower. Overall, it's not that bad. I'm going to go check out some pharmacies and see if I can get hold of these masks. And the mall seems to be open. People are walking out and about. This coffee shop had people a while back. It's pretty much empty now, but it had lots of people a while back ago. I can understand what foreigners outside of China or people outside of China must be thinking right now, and then trusting the media. Again, there's quite a lot of anti-China propaganda happening outside of China, and I'm not being pro-China or anything like staying in China, but it's just a fact. Facts are facts. China's going to build 2 or 3 hospitals in the next 10 days. It'll be ready by the 3rd of February. Now, which other country has the resources, the capabilities to build hospitals from scratch in 10 bloody days? So at the end of the day, China is doing quite a lot for its citizens. They're doing their best to basically reduce the cases, infections, and so on and so forth. And a lot of pharmacies are out of stock for the masks because all the masks the factories are producing day and night, but they're all going to the hospitals. The hospitals have refused to sell masks to the general public because they want to stock up themselves, which makes sense, which is understandable. So at the end of the day, people of China have united and they're doing their best. The government, the health officials, the hospital officials, doctors, nurses, and one must respect and salute to them for whatever their services, for whatever they're doing for the public in these difficult times. So yes, I believe China will fight through this. I genuinely do believe that we will be able to get over this. And thanks for all the concerns of the general public outside of China who are praying for us, and that's great. And yes, the situation in Wuhan is quite bad. Maybe the Chinese government is lying about the infections, about the death rate or whatever, but at the end of the day, more people die out of the flu during any common cold season in the US or Europe or whatever than the people who have passed away. Of course, one death is too many, and it is a bit sad, and I do deeply sympathize for the people who have passed away. And then condolences for their families, but at the end of the day, it is what it is, and the virus is quite infectious. We have to take precautions, and yes, we are. So as we speak, about 130 odd people have died, and it is a bit sad. The number of infections keeps rising. So every morning I wake up, the infections, the number just keeps rising, and deaths keep increasing. But just basic hygiene, to be honest, will be better. Shanghai, the situation, people are maintaining a good hygiene. People are taking care of themselves. They are wearing the masks, so that's a good sign. And let's hope, we're all together in this. Let's hope China fights this. I had some messages on my YouTube that people were asking, should we come to China for a visit, or we have our holidays booked, or we have XYZ business trips or whatever. To be very honest, I would advise against non-essential travel to China, any city in China. So unless you absolutely have to, I would recommend not to visit China for at least a month from now. And if you happen to be in China, just stay in China. But still, the more we roam around, the more we leave, the more viruses will spread, the more people might get infected. So at the end of the day, just stay where you are, maintain your own hygiene, be safe, be secure, and that's the only recommendation that I can give. Chinese government has requested the airlines and the travel agents to refund 100% for the people who booked their tours, or in fact, it has even cancelled some of the tour operators' tours, and it has requested all the airlines to issue 100% refunds on the flight tickets. So if you happen to have these booked, I would just recommend cancelling and just staying where you are. You do understand some people are willing to leave, and for example, people who are in Wuhan who want to leave, I can totally understand they would want to leave. But if you happen to be in Shanghai or any of the other cities which has been not been infected so much, just stay in China. To be honest, there's no need to leave, because if you're going to leave, then it's just going to bring more infections, just to bring a risk with you, and that's just not advisable. Regards the people infected and regards the amount of people affected, at the end of the day, China is a huge country with 1.4 billion people. So yes, 16 cities are locked down near Wuhan and Wuhan itself, with a combined population of in excess of 45, 50 million people. But at the end of the day, there are 1.4 billion people in China. So yes, 50 million people are affected. Yes, they are under a lockdown. Yes, they are under house arrest, you can even say. But at the end of the day, if they happen to move across, imagine the consequences. So the government is doing what it can at the best. And yes, they might be hiding. Yes, they might be hiding the numbers. Yes. But people are comparing this to SARS of 2002. Now, SARS of 2002 and China of 2002 are totally different. China of 2002 is a totally different China as to our China of now. China is more economically strong, has more power, it has the resources. As I said, it's building a hospital in 10 days. So maybe this might not have been possible in 2002. So the government is doing what it can. We as people, we as citizens, we as foreigners, we as just normal people living in China, we just have to maintain our own hygiene and our own safety, and that's all we can do.